Thursday, the 7th day of May, 2015, global transmission. If you just tuned in and you're watching us on television, you'll notice that the lights are basically off here in the studio. And I got into the studio about, I don't know, an hour ago or so and sat down here with the lights off. And I kind of like the way it looks. And then I was thinking, what's an allegory for what's happening in our world? Because here I am in the shadows, kind of like the globalist program for corporate world government has been in the shadows. But as more and more people understand the globalist system, the philosophy, the program, what makes them tick, what they're building, what they believe in, and as more of us investigate, it sheds more and more light, like slowly turning up the lights in a room. Now, we could slowly fade up the lights, but historically sometimes, in fact, a lot of the time, the light slowly, barely fades up, and then all of a sudden, explosively, the lights come on and the roaches try to scatter. And that's the point we've reached. I've had George Stephanopoulos' office call me to supposedly go on this week on ABC. They want to fly me out there. But in my experience with mainstream media, they fly you somewhere as a joke to make you sit there. ABC hasn't done that. Not with Nightline, not with The View and other shows I've been on. But CNN and Fox, I just will not do it. I don't know. I'm going to fly out to D.C. to be in the room with Stephanopoulos. I'm seeing about trying to do it via satellite or via fiber, as they do most of it now. I'm not going to do it taped so they can edit it all up like CNN did. In fact, we have that clip coming up. We played part of it with David Dewhurst yesterday, dealing with the military drills and Jade Helm and the huge firestorm and political awakening to that's now taking place. But we didn't get to the part where they intro the piece and edit me down to like 3 seconds saying, looks like an invasion, when I never said there's an imminent, real invasion happening this summer. And I know I kept hammering on that. It's just, this is how they deceive their audience. There is an amazing article on Infowars.com that we republished in full from the New American Magazine. We normally just publish snippets and link to them, by Alex Newman, who really breaks down the mainstream media deception on Jade Helm. It's the best article out there, bar none. Establishment Press discredits itself with Jade Helm deceit. And I just want to commend Alex Newman for his scholarly research, because he just goes over their lies, blah, blah, blah. He mentions a NPR piece that I happened to read a transcript of and mention on air, I think on Monday, that was so cartoonish. It's like Alex Jones believes they're killing people at Walmart. And he also believes in this crazy thing. And just all this stuff I never said. And never even mentioning Jade Helm itself. I mean, it's getting crazy, where they just go tinfoil, tinfoil, tinfoil. Everybody knows we've got illegal asset forfeiture seizure going on and illegal NSA spying. Of course, back when I talked about 20 years ago, everybody didn't know. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, how many times do we have to be right over and over again? And now they're just involved in desperate damage control. Everybody knows, who's half awake, that there's militarization of police, that there's a federalization, a globalization of police. No one is saying the military individually are bad, though the media keeps saying we've said that. It's the military that doesn't want this civilian inmate labor camp, civil unrest, mass roundup, gun confiscation plan. And it's in hundreds of documents that we source and video of it happening. Not just in Katrina, but areas of California, you name it, knock and talk. I mean, people know they're being lied to. Are folks overreacting to Jade Helm? No, not really, because it's just a flashpoint. It's a spark. It's a wake-up point. Fox News calls it a firestorm, and it is a firestorm. The roaches are starting to scatter, and their monopoly of media is imploding. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. Where to begin? Jade Helm is being called by Fox News, ABC News, the New York Times, and others a firestorm, an explosive political battle, it is now probably the top story in the country. And it's a huge victory for liberty, because even though the mainstream media, the globalist sympathizer media, has framed all this in fraud and made it all about an imminent takeover and martial law this summer, when we've talked about it being conditioning for incremental globalization and federalization. And the military's own legions of documents and training manuals admitting it's for the American people for future paramilitary civil unrest gun confiscation. I mean, that's in the Washington Times, Forbes, AP, Reuters, the Army War College. We've made countless videos about it, showing anybody can search those terms. How the Pentagon would crush a Tea Party rebellion. You'll get the headlines. And then you'll get the actual Army manuals. That's why the military is so awake now, because they're there. The non-commissioned officers and up are being given treasonous training. It was in the news 2 weeks ago again. Army and armed services wide, but the leak was out of the Army. Well, it wasn't even a leak, it was just public. But the folks in the military are the ones that leaked it onto the web and said, look what we're being taught. Where they said the founding fathers were bad and that free market's bad and racist and sexist and the founders are evil. A federal judge ruled a month ago that you can't wear an American flag if people think it's offensive. This is Twilight Zone behavior. They're blaming the victims of the terrorist attack in Garland in the media for their speech eliciting these folks. And then some of the Twitter accounts criticizing the dead terrorist are getting censored for being insensitive. And then on Fox News, they've got an imam on saying that basically the people that put on this show deserve to be killed. And Sean Hannity says, well, you know, we don't follow your laws here. In fact, we'll just get that clip ready. You know, we've got the Constitution. He says, not for long. And I'm not in some clash of civilizations, Islamophobic hatred of Muslims, period. Everybody knows I'm against destabilizing the Middle East, what happened in Iraq, aiding al-Qaeda to destabilize Syria, overthrowing Egypt. I want prosperity and freedom for the Middle East. And there are a lot of moderate Muslims and good people. But our government, our media allows, and the same thing in England, radicals to operate. In fact, here's the shock video. Radical imam tells Pamela Geller on live TV she should be killed. Here's that clip. And then we'll continue on with...
You want her to die. You know what? She should be put before Sharia court and tried, and if found guilty, of course she will face capital punishment.
She's not a Muslim, Anjem. She's not a Muslim. She doesn't believe what you believe. You don't believe in liberty and freedom and freedom of speech. You want to oppress her over a cartoon.
And Salman Rushdie and Hirsi Ali. You cannot continue to go down this road and expect the Muslims to stand back. You know, I would retaliate if someone insulted my own mother, let alone the Prophet, who I adhere and, you know, I love 100 times more than my own family.
So if anybody says anything against your Prophet that you don't like,
if someone attacked his mother, what about the Prophet?
If somebody says something about your Prophet that you don't like, you want them dead.
Any prophet.
And see, how this is going to work with political correctness is you can't have speech if it inflames this extremist. And by the way, the Wahhabists are running around blowing up every Christian shrine they can find. The shrine of Jonah, the shrine of Christ. It's just pure bull. And it's like gang culture. The worst radical Muslims with Saudi Arabian funding bully everyone else into following their sick brand of cultic oppression. And I'm against totalitarianism. I don't care where it comes from. Communist, Nazi, radical jihadi. I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of the left's bizarre alliance with radical Islam. We're going to get into that. And ISIS claims it has 71 trained soldiers in 15 different states ready to attack. That's on Infowars.com. ISIS targeting states with strict gun control laws, Infowars.com. We're going to break that down. ISIS says more attacks imminent in U.S. Says the 2 killed in Dallas by an off-duty police officer where they're soldiers. Obama set to begin training jihadists in Syria. Actual ISIS are being trained now in Syria, as we predicted they would do, to launch phase 2, with them now resupplied out of Iraq with U.S. weapons. And all this had to be done because the military caught on to what was happening 2 years ago and said no. So now they just let them resupply by invading Iraq and having our military stand down. Can't make that up. ISIS opens a 262-room luxury hotel in Mosul, in Iraq's second largest city.